The American President Donald Trump was joined by leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan at the White House. Both leaders shook hands, silencing decades-long conflict between the two neighbors. The American President Donald Trump sat in the middle as the Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev and the Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan flanked him on either side. Now, Trump had earlier hailed the meeting as a historic peace summit and claimed that many leaders had unsuccessfully tried their hand to end this war before he had stepped in. Upon meeting with the leaders, he asked about their experience in the office, suggesting as to how he was successful in negotiating for peace between such experienced leaders.
Leaders, how long have you been in the leadership position?
22 years.
22 years,
yeah.
That's pretty good. That means he's tough and smart.
The signed framework is aimed at reaching a concrete pathway to peace and addressing a long-simmering transit issue between the two nations. Azerbaijan had asked for a transport corridor through Armenia, linking the bulk of its territory to Nakhchivan, an Azerbaijani enclave that borders Baku's ally Turkey. Now, this agreement gives the United States the right to develop the Zangezur corridor that's renamed Trump Route for international peace and prosperity. Now, this peace deal can in fact transform the South Caucasus, an energy-producing region neighboring Russia, Europe, Turkey and Iran that is crisscrossed by oil and gas pipelines but is riven by closed borders and long-standing ethnic conflicts. Now, this agreement follows Azerbaijan's successful military operation in 2023 to take back Nagorno-Karabakh, resulting in the displacement of 100,000 ethnic Armenians. The Baku and Yerevan were sworn enemies since last 35 years. They went to war twice over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. The agreement also includes the U.S. military's participation in peacekeeping operations and accounts for Washington's growing influence in the regional trade and logistics. For Russia, the U.S.'s peacekeeping move between Baku and Yerevan signals its weakening grip on a region that it had dominated for decades. With Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine also causing a decline of its ex-Soviet partners across the Caucasus. Now, Russia's previous attempt to maintain warm relations with Baku by not supporting the arch-rival Armenia in military conflicts over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region has already dented ties with its former ally, the Armenians. Moscow now faces the prospect of losing sway in the gas-rich Azerbaijan, where the EU, Turkey and China are also vying for influence. All right, now joining us on the broadcast from Casablanca in Morocco is Mr. Hafid Boutaleb, who is a geopolitical and an international relations analyst. Mr. Boutaleb, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on WION. Now, this of course, is a pretty interesting power play that is happening in the Caucasus, where we see Donald Trump flanked by the Azerbaijani president and the leader from Armenia on either side. Now, this is a region that historically has been dominated by the Russians as part of being a part of this former Soviet Union. Now, give us a sense of how this is likely to resonate in terms of how politics will change in the Caucasus.
Well, yes, indeed. Thank you for the invitation. And indeed, it is a considerable breakthrough, Mohammed, because the two countries who were formerly members of the Soviets of the Soviet Union were waging a war since 1991. So it means almost 35 years of war, bloody wars. So many things set them apart. Not the same language, not the same religion, not the same alphabet. You know, they in Armenia, which is among the oldest nations in the world. It's a 1700 years existing country. They have their own alphabet, so many things set them apart, but yet they were able to reach this agreement, knowing that just 4 years ago, the two countries were having a bloody war on the border in the province of Nagorno-Karabakh, in which Azerbaijan recorded an unprecedented victory and emptied the land from its Armenians. Armenians living there since centuries, probably millennials, had been forced to leave. And today, after this agreement, seemingly very few would be able to return. Most of them will stay in Armenia.
Right.
But it is still a very positive outcome, because both countries have agreed now for a definitive peace. Let me even say quote the president of Azerbaijan, Mr. Aliyev, who said yesterday, eternal peace in southern Caucasus.
Right. Now, there is peace for the time being between Azerbaijan and Armenia, but what this also means is the entry of the United States of America in the region, because the Zangezur corridor, a very key choke point there, is now going to be renamed the Trump route. And Iran has now said that the sovereignty of the nations within the region must be respected and there should not be any outside interference. How do you think the American presence is likely to impact countries within the region, like, for instance, Iran, which has a border with Azerbaijan there, and also the Russians, who've got such crucial interests in the Caucasus?
Well, let's say first, this agreement, which is a surprise agreement, it reflects how the waning grip of Russia in this region, which was fully part of Soviet Union 35 years ago. And now Russia seems to lose the grip, because Armenia, which was a close ally of Russia, has definitely turned the page and definitely now is closer to United States, thanks to this diplomatic move of the President Donald Trump. For Iran, I can't understand this claim of Iran, because surprisingly, Iran never reacted such energetically when the war was on the ground and people were dying every day during this Nagorno-Karabakh war. So normally, such a big country like Iran should have pushed for peace decades ago, and not now coming, unfortunately, to threaten this fragile new peace agreement.
Right.
So definitely today, this Trump route will first, what should be said is that it is 99 years exclusive economic rights of the United States over this route. So it means that infrastructures and also digital connections like fiber optics will be built by the Americans in partnership with the stakeholders who are Turks, Azerbaijanis, and of course Armenians.
Indeed. So it is, of course, the entry of the United States of America in the Caucasus region, a place which was earlier dominated by the Russians. The Iranians, of course, have their borders there. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Abu Talib, for joining us with that perspective there.
Thank you for the invitation.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.